Hi everyone. So I'm back with more testimony. Yesterday, actually, yeah, yesterday, um, I don't know why I hadn't realized that when the manager gave me Wednesday and Thursday off, that I'd be off for Valentine's Day, and I had already made plans. Like, I had decided that I was going to. I had told the staff, I'm like, hey, since we're all going to be working on Valentine's Day, I'm going to pick us up a cake. What do you guys want? And of course, everybody gave me um, their version of what cake is to them. But God will make plans, and you can't you can't go against that. So anyway, so yesterday, as I'm realizing that I've got Valentine's Day off and the plans that I had originally made aren't going to work, I was like, I need to figure out what to do on Valentine's Day. And the manager, the general manager, says, go out drinking. I'm like, no. I said, I'll drink at home, but I won't go out drinking. Just, no. And then I remembered seeing a commercial about Madame Web. And I was like, I'm going to go watch Madame Web. I didn't tell anybody. So when I got home, God led me to put it on Facebook that I was going to go see Madame Web and the location I was going to go see it at. I don't typically do that. I usually will just say, that I'm watching Madame Web and that I'm doing it at a movie theater, but I won't say the location. But God led me to not just put the location, but, because the location gives you just the general area. But he led me to actually put the address of the actual physical place that I was going to. And I was like, okay, I was obedient. So it took me 2 buses. One bus to get me to the other bus, and then the other bus to get me to where I could walk down. It was probably half a mile. And as I'm on the bus, I'm kind of thinking about what I'm going to do, and I'm low on funds. So I'm like, I'm not really sure why I'm going out, but I got to be obedient because there's a reason God wants me to go out. And then he gives me this feeling like we're on a date. So he had me, I don't do a lot of makeup. I don't know if you can still see it, but I have a little bit of eyeliner on the upper part of my eyelid, and then I've got some mascara, and I had lip gloss on that was kind of shiny, and that's all I had on. I don't do makeup because it makes me itch, and I'm not really, I've never really learned how to do makeup, so that's the main reason I don't do makeup. I end up looking more like a porn star, so I learned a long time ago that I just don't. The woman who raised me just didn't take the time for that. She took the time with my sister, but with her daughter, but not with me. And so, oh well, whatever. And so I did my makeup. I didn't put lipstick on. I said, Father, I'm wearing glasses, so people can't see that I'm wearing makeup until I get to the movie theater when I take off my sunglasses. And I said, and I'd rather leave it that way because I've noticed men have started noticing me. And it makes me a little bit cautious about being out by myself, especially a woman alone. And so he said, fine. So when I got to the second bus, there was a lady there, and he goes, okay, now put on your lipstick, your lip gloss. And I did. And he goes, okay, take a picture. I was like, okay. So I took a picture, and he goes, okay, now update your picture, your profile picture on Facebook. I'm like, okay. So I did. And then the bus got there. And I was like, okay. So we got on the bus and got down to the location I was going to, where I needed to start walking. And there was, on the corner, a restaurant that I haven't seen since I was in high school. And it was my favorite place to go hang out after school. Because, you know, on half days, that's where I'd go hang out with my friends. And those were the only days that I ever didn't go home on time, when we had half days. And it was mostly my senior year, because that's when I really started to understand that I needed to have some fun. I was always doing the right thing. I was always being a goody two-shoes, like everybody called me. And for once, I wanted to be like everyone else. And I wanted to hang out with my friends, and I wanted to talk and, you know, gossip about kid gossip, you know, who's going out with who broke up with who's dating who, that kind of sort of stuff. And I saw the restaurant, and I was like, and Father unctioned me to go in. And I was like, can I go in on the way out? And he goes, yeah, that's fine, but you need to eat. I'm like, okay. Because when you're on a date, you have to go out to eat, and then you go to a movie, and then and so I was spending the day with Father and just having a good time. And I didn't spend a lot of money. I mean, it's not like I have a lot to spend, but the little bit I do have, he said, okay, I want you to put $10 into your Uber account, is what he calls it, my Cash App, because that's what it's for. It's for rent, or it's for paying the motel, and it's for Ubering and for food. So food's taken care of. I don't need anything here. Dog food's taken care of. God led me to buy a 40-pound bag of dog food. I've only given him, we've only gone through a quarter of the bag, so he still has enough to make it through the month. And the last time I did that, everything changed. Because I went from being in California in a 2-bedroom apartment with my roommate never being home, to living in front of the 7-Eleven where I was going to work, and not being able to move anywhere because I didn't have gas and I didn't have a working battery. And then suddenly the battery, somebody helped me with the battery, and it was through the rain. As soon as the rain finally stopped, it stopped for like maybe a month and a half, and then it started to rain again. But in that month and a half, I went from stuck in the mud across the street from where I worked to actually being on the road and being able to move again. And I've noticed that God starts to repeat himself. And when I'm starting to see some of the same things that happened before. Here I've been stuck without my truck for about 2 months now, because it was at the end of November, so all of December, all of January, so here we are into February. And so I know it's gonna change fast. Like, I'm gonna go, and it actually has. It's been since last paycheck that I haven't taken the bus home at night. He has me Uber every night. I don't know how I'm making the money last, because after my paycheck, after I pay the hotel rent, I have literally like $300-400 left. And I had more than enough to buy a cart full of food, which the bill was upwards of $300, and still have enough money to Uber to and from work, or to Uber from work every night that I worked. And and I've noticed that it's not always someone who's going to sow into me that God is leading, the reason God leads me to ask for funds. It's He wants me to have enough faith that He's going to take care of me in whatever manner He sees fit. And He does. And so I'm on my way. So I go, I went, I bought my ticket, and I came out of because the movie didn't start till 1:30, and it was like 12:50. And God says, you need to eat something. I'm like, okay. I thought we were doing a fast, and He goes, tomorrow. I was like, okay. So then I get to the restaurant, and He leaves me to buy a burrito and a soda. And I'm like, and I still have money left? Like, how is that? And He goes, okay, go sit down, get this, get that. I only finished half the burrito because it was a huge burrito. And so I put the rest of it in my bag. And then I went to go watch the movie. And so the previews that come up, because God did not want me to miss the previews. So I went, I had to go to the bathroom really quickly because I had to go. And so there was 3 minutes to the preview starting. And I didn't run, but I was pretty quick getting downstairs, getting into the bathroom, coming back, going back upstairs, because I was on the very last row at the very top. It's the only way I like to watch a movie. And so I'm sitting there, and I start to see these previews of the movies that are coming through the spring. Every movie that's coming out in the spring is meant to instill fear. Fear in children. It's all dedicated to the kids. It's about nightmares and imagination and boogeymen. And if any of you remember the movies The Omen, about the child, the evil child, people say this is Lucifer's child. These movies are going to be coming out. And you really have to protect your children. You have to protect their eyes. You have to protect their ears. Because once the fear gets a hold of them, Lucifer will be given range. Fear is a door. Anger is a door. Pride is a door. Please protect your children. If you know parents who are taking their children to see these movies, pray over them. Pray over your friends, your family. Pray over their friends and families. This is no joke. They're coming after the kids. So I get through the movie, and there was a lot of revelation that God gave me. And the way that the movie was directed. And Dakota Johnson is one of my favorite actresses. And that's final. And yes, I did watch all 3 of those movies. And yes, God allowed me to watch all 3 of those movies. And so, on my way back, I'd forgotten about Lenny's Burger Shop. And as we're getting closer, God says, I thought you were going to get a hamburger. And I look up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, okay. And so I walk in. Let me back up. So after I got out of the movie theater, I knew there was a Walmart at the end of the shopping center. And I was, I don't want to go, I don't want to go, I don't want to go, I don't want to go. So I went. I'm like, okay, I went. I put $10 on my card. God led me to buy some wine. The wine was on sale. Normally these bottles of wine are like $9, $10. I bought it for $5. And I'm like, thank you. So I put it in my bag so I wouldn't have to carry it. And I walked down, and then I got to Lenny's, and God's like, go ahead. So I said, okay. So I walked in, and the gentleman behind the counter, he was a nice young man, and we got to talking. And he went to touch something with his finger, and he's like, oh, he goes, I keep forgetting I can't do anything with this hand. And I looked at him, I'm like, oh my gosh, you got to be careful, because he had a splint on his finger. And I said, how did that happen? And he goes, it was a crash. Now, most people, when they get into a car accident, they'll say accident. When people say crash, that means a motorcycle. And I know this because I owned a motorcycle. God led me to buy a motorcycle, and I did, and I loved it, and I'm going to get another one. Anyway, so I'm like, let me guess. No, I said, just tell me that it wasn't on a motorcycle. And he goes, oh, I hate to tell you this, but it was. I'm like, was the bike totaled? He goes, no, that's how I rode to work. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And he goes, yeah, I have to be, I have a date tonight. And so we got to talking, and da-da-da-da-da. And I ordered my food, and I went and I sat down, because I ordered it to go, because I asked Father, I said, I don't want to eat here. I want to take it home so that I can sit down and I can eat at home and rest. Because I'd been out most of the day, and in the morning, I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to go to work, to the movies. I'm like, I know I put it on Facebook, and I'm so tired. I don't want to go. Can I just skip it? He's like, I'm like, okay, I'm up. Took a bath, got ready, got out the door. So as I'm sitting there in Lenny's Burger Shop, I realized I had to go to the restroom. So I take my stuff, I go to the restroom, and I set my phone on the sink. And I went to the bathroom, and I didn't even think about it. I forgot my phone in the bathroom. I waited for my food, didn't check my phone once while I was there. Normally, I'm on my phone, checking emails, checking, writing notes, because I have Microsoft Office on my phone. So sometimes if there's something that God has like really hyphened up for me, I'll write it down so that I don't forget what it was that happened in that day. I'm getting a lot better about writing things down. I didn't used to, but that's one of the reasons why he had me download it on my phone, because I always have my phone with me, and sometimes he'll have me start jotting notes down when I'm on the bus, or when I'm waiting for the bus to come in and pick me up. And so I grabbed my stuff, and somehow I put it in my head that my phone was in my purse. I get to the light, and right as I'm getting to the light, I see the bus. So I cross the street the opposite direction, and I cross the street the other direction, and I made it to the bus stop before the bus got there. I got on the bus, I went home, I got on the next bus, and then I got home. When I got home, the first thing I do is I always take everything out of my pockets, and I set my purse down. I grab my keys, grab my leash, and I take my dog outside to go to the bathroom. When I came inside, the first thing I did was not look for my phone. When I came inside, I actually went to turn on because the TV's still not working. And then I got the idea. God put it in the something happened to the satellite, and I don't know what. And God led me to look it up on your phone. And I was like, oh yeah, I could look it up on my phone. So I went to grab my phone, and I'm like, oh, it must be in my purse. I went and I grabbed it out of my purse. It wasn't there. I'm like, okay, where did I go into the rooms? So I went to the kitchen, nothing there. Came back. I looked everywhere, looked under the bed, and then I went into the bathroom, because I remember I went into the bathroom, and when I came back out, God says, retrace your steps. So I went back outside, went back to the front to see if maybe I dropped my phone. And so I came back into my room, and I'm like, okay, no, it's not there. And I heard again, go into the bathroom. And I'm like, but it's not in there. I'm like, well, maybe I set it on the wall or something. And when I walked in and I looked at the sink, immediately the restroom at the Lenny's with my phone sitting there came into my mind. I'm like, I left it in the Lenny's. Oh my gosh. So I got dressed and I changed my pants, and I was like, I'm never wearing pants that don't have side pockets, because that's why I didn't put it in my pocket, because it was in my back pocket and I was sitting down. If I had it on my side, I would have felt it. I would have known it wasn't there, and I would have gone looking for it. And so I got back on the bus. I went all the way back to where I was going, and sure enough, I walked in. There's my phone. Walked back. As I'm walking back to the corner, the bus passes, and I'm like, oh, I just missed the bus. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll just wait for the bus. It's okay. And so I've been waiting there for about 10 minutes, and I looked on the phone to see when the next bus was coming. It said 7 minutes. I was like, okay, fine, perfect. And so I got on the bus. I jetted down to the next stop. At the next stop, no, the stop that I got picked up at, the bus driver was going to make me pay for the trip, at least $2. And whenever when God has showed me that if they have me pay $2 and I still have to take another bus, to tell them that I want the day pass. That way they print out the day pass, and then I'll pay the $4, but then if I have to take more than the 2 buses, it doesn't matter. And so I bought the day pass. I get on the other bus. The other bus took forever to get to the bus stop. Finally it arrives, and we're sitting there, and there's like 4 guys, 2, 3, one next to me, one on the other side of me, and 2 in front of me. And we're talking and just having a good time. And as I'm sitting there, I say, I always tell God, I'll just leave it on the seat, and if somebody needs it, they can take it. This time, he said, speak. And I was like, what? Speak. And I was like, does anybody need a full day bus pass? This is my last bus, so I don't need it anymore. And the kid sitting diagonally to me, he's about my son's age, says, actually, I do. My phone just died, and I have my day pass on it, but I can't use it because my phone's dead. And I was like, well, here you go. Go for it. Yeah, definitely take it. And he goes, thank you. He goes, I don't know where I'm going to get it charged. I have a long way to go to get home, and I need my phone. And I said, you know what? Try Jack in the Box, try Taco Bell. They usually have a plug. And he goes, yeah, but they've been taking them out. And I said, okay, then go to Starbucks. Starbucks always has plugs for your phone. And he goes, you know what? That's a great idea. I'll do that. Thank you. I said, you're welcome. And that's when I realized God had me forget my phone because someone was going to need the bus pass. And because I was obedient, and if I could have been like, you know what, I'll just go get it tomorrow. I'm too tired. Plus, I have something coming up tomorrow that I need my phone for, which was the other reason I was very, very, very rushed to get my phone back. Besides it being my only mode of communication. And so, you never know who needs you in that moment. If you don't follow God's instructions, if you don't follow God's guiding, you could miss your blessing. You could miss blessing someone else that has asked God for help. And now you're not doing God's work because you're not listening. And this is an example. I could have I could have just paid the $2 and been, hope that the next bus doesn't charge me to get on so I wouldn't have to pay the other $2. But if didn't have the bus pass, I wouldn't have been able to give it to this young man so that he could make it home. We don't know why God has us do anything. I could have been angry and been upset about the fact that my phone got left behind, knowing God knows I need it. God knows that it's my only way of keeping myself safe, besides Him being with me. But He needed me to be, He needed to see my heart posture, because He's always checking us. He's always checking our heart postures with different things. And when we react in a certain way, then that tells Him if we're ready or not ready for our next blessing. What I did was I prayed to God. I said, please God, you know I need my phone. Let it be your will. I don't know what else to do. I don't have money to pay for a new phone. I don't have the ability of asking anyone to help me for a new phone. And He said, and that's when He told me, retrace your steps. I was like, okay. And I did. I was obedient. I retraced my steps until He dropped the image of the bathroom with my phone on the sink. Obedience is better than sacrifice. Faith without obedience is dead works. So I pray that you listen to God's guiding, that you listen to God's in unctioning. Whatever He's leading you to do, whoever He's leading you to help, open your mouth, open your hand, open your eyes, open your ears, and help. In the name of my Lord Jesus, God bless.